You're not needed.
Okay, bye.
The way she puts it, am I needed for this, or can I go do important things that you're not doing?
Or can I go work?
Are you gonna take your computer to work? Yeah, see, you wasn't even planning on working.
Shut the hell up.
All right, I hope you got that, the way Mahe talks to me.
Shut the hell up.
I want to talk to you guys about the interest rates and the conversations that we've been having consistently, and then tell you about a little secret tool that we have that if you reach out to us, we can send it to you. We even make a personalized video just for you if you request it using the tool. It refers to the interest rates, appreciation, projections, all those things. Interest rates are definitely the worst they've been since the last financial crisis or even before. A lot of buyers are discouraged to buy. And I get that. I will never allow myself or other people to be one of those teams that says, hey, well, you know, when my dad bought, there are several reasons why that's irrelevant. We're not in that same sort of economy. Cost of living, cost of goods, cost of homes are not the same. And I'm not your dad. I don't like that conversation and how that tries to move people towards buying. That, in other words, that tries to move people towards me and my team earning a commission. And that's not our first priority, right? The other thing about that is we always have to run a negative, a pessimistic, a doomsday scenario. What if the market goes to crap? What if you do buy now and it's high and it's expensive and you can't afford it and all the things? You can only buy what you can get pre-approved for. So you might be pre-approved for this, but only can afford this. And we want to talk about that. We never want to push people into more than they can afford. In fact, I've challenged people away from 800 down to 600. We want what's best for you and what you're comfortable with. Ultimately, that's your decision, but we're going to help guide you and coach you towards that. Now, with interest rates being the worst they've ever been, is that a negative thing? That's really the heart of this conversation, or the focus of this conversation is this a bad time to buy? It comes down to, how's your money? How's your job stability? How's your marriage stability? What's your staying power? Do you have a need and or a want or just an ability to stay in the Hawaii market long term? Because we're very, very bullish on the Hawaii market long term. You may ask yourself, Derek, if you were me, what would you do? Well, I'm actually trying to buy right now. Going to the third and fourth quarter of this year, I am trying to buy another home, another investment property. So if you're VA, you probably have the best rate. If you're conventional, you're in the seven, you're well into the sevens. Me, as an investment buyer, as a other than my primary residence buyer, my interest rate is probably going to be in the 8s, pushing 9. I don't know. I haven't ran it recently, but it's going to be pretty terrible. Why would I buy in this economy? Well, I feel confident that the circumstances and the data that exists supports another bull run in the market. And I'll explain. Yes, interest rates are high right now. Yes, if you buy $1 million home or $500,000 home, the affordability index is the lowest it's been, I think, since like the 1950s or 60s or something. That's bad for affordability. What it's good for is less competition, a little bit more leverage for buyers. We would expect to have a ton of leverage for buyers with interest rates where they are. I'm saying a little bit more. It depends on the situation. Less buyers to compete with and hopefully lower pricing. We're competing on one right now that's priced around $4 million, and we're actually going a little above asking. But it's a unique thing. I'm also helping some clients buy in Mililani on a lower price single family, and that's still very competitive despite the rates, because it's the lowest price single family in all of Mililani. So the townhome people trying to bridge up to single family, they all want that thing. If I thought housing prices were going to go down, I would not want to buy unless cash flow were just great. But we know buying in Hawaii, cash flow is not that great. Like, Hawaii is not a good cash flow state. It's not a good place to go buy a $500,000 place to achieve rental income. It's one of the worst places for that. So that's not going to happen, but appreciation can likely happen in Hawaii. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when that appreciation happens. I think the market's going to continue to appreciate, so I am trying to buy right now. What are some of the factors that exist? So one, people have more equity in their homes. I don't know if than ever, but in a very, very, very long time. The statistics show that people have more equity locked into their homes for multiple reasons than in decades. Why is that? Well, things went up. They've been going up since 2009, 10, 2020, 2022. That 2021 run was a steep increase. And so if you had bought a home, you have equity locked in. It's just growing and growing and growing. Unless you refi and take money out, your debt on that home is slowly lowering, but its value is going up. exponentially, right? So people have a lot of equity locked into the home. What's another reason people have a lot of equity and their equity position's good is in that 2021 era, we were losing in Eva Beach, we'd lose to $800,000 cash. In Kaneohe, it'd be like $600,000 down on 1.2 million. Whether this money was coming from early inheritances from family members or people cashing out retirement plans, I don't know where everyone's money came from, but we were competing daily in that market and people were coming with huge down payments. So people are in strong equity positions. Another reason why the housing market is strong or there's not going to be this excess of inventory is people are locked into the best interest rates that they have been maybe ever. I don't know the exact stat. I've been seeing a lot of these things going around. I talked to a couple last night. We're locked in at 1.95 on a 15-year mortgage. I personally have a home at 2.25. I know several people that are at 2s and 3s. My investment property I own is at 4.7 on a 7-year ARM, I believe. Like people who own real estate and acquired it anytime previously. So even if they acquired it in 2005, they likely refied in 2020 or 2021 into these great rates. They have a lot of value locked into these homes and they can afford to keep them because they have great interest rates. Have you guys ever seen that commercial or it's like a meme or a reel on Instagram or YouTube where there's two people selling watermelons and then the one guy undercuts the price and then the other guy looks, so he just buys all of the watermelons and then takes them? That's a basic lesson on supply and demand. Anytime there's a housing crisis, there's an excess of supply. You can't have a big housing market crash but no homes for sale. And we have record low inventory right now. People aren't selling their homes. Why? Because they have low interest rates, so they don't want to sell and don't want to move. They just shuffled around post-COVID and they have a lot of equity locked into their home so they can just fix it up or whatever. There's a ton of reasons why people aren't selling, and there's a ton of reasons why I believe we're not going to see this excess supply of inventory. How could we? In major cities across the nation, even with some that have seen, the prices come down and some price relief, they're still building, right? Even here in Hawaii, like our number one builder, D.R. Horton, who's building a ton of homes, we've still had situations where people are sleeping overnight to try and get in these desirable homes. They took away the lottery and did it on a first come, first serve. People are camping out. I paid 4 people to sleep on the sidewalk for 3 of our clients. 2 of them ended up getting a home. There's not going to be this huge supply, this huge flood of inventory, and therefore that equals a strong housing market. Now, Derek, you said you're going to be objective and be negative and be honest with us. Well, I am. Here's the negative data point about the American economy. We have more consumer debt than we've ever had. I had a client who moved here, and actually I bought their townhome in Ko'olina when they moved away, and I use it as an investment. He works for a major credit card company, and he's like, and he's high up. He said, we've had meetings, of people are just spending and they won't stop spending. When COVID happened, people got stimulus checks, and now Red Lobster on Friday nights is a thing. And when that stimulus ran out, well, Cheddar Bay biscuits is still a thing, right? Leave me a comment if you like Cheddar Bay biscuits or you go to Red Lobster, or if you think it's horrible. The American culture has an addiction to consuming. That makes for a point of instability. With election cycle coming up, well, we see more quantitative easing, more dollar printing, more inflation. Because inflation numbers are good, the economy's strong. That's one of the reasons the interest rates are staying up, because the Fed is like, hey, well, we're trying to suppress the housing market. It's so resilient. We're just going to camp out here and maybe even increase rates a bit. Because another point of positivity, the jobs reports are really strong. People have jobs. People are employed. The only negative point is the consumer debt and the student debt, of course. Don't get me started. With all of those things existing, I think that when rates return to 5%, we're going to see another bull run in the market. That's what I think. This is not specific financial or investing advice for you. This is generalized advice. Book a consult with us if you want to talk specifically about your situation. But what did we see last time? So from 2012 or so all the way on, rates were locked at 4.5, 4.75, not a lot of fluctuation for years. If you're a lender or you bought homes or refied during that time, like for years, like 4.4, 4.7, it was like that for a very long time. COVID happens, we see rates drop to 3%, people lose their mind. The housing market is a bloodbath, and that's just, a 2% drop, right? Less than a 2%. And then eventually it was, all the way down to a 2% drop. If we're around 7.5, 8% right now, and we get down to 5, after having been at 7 and 8, 5 will feel like 2. And that's why I think we're going to go on a bull run. So I would rather buy real estate now. What did Warren Buffett say? When everyone's scared, be bullish. I'd rather buy real estate now with less competition, a little more leverage for buyers, and hopefully slightly suppressed pricing. The market's been showing resiliency. It's not like prices are going down like crazy, which is the discouraging factor, right? If rates went up like that and there was a reason that homes came on the market in excess, we would see prices come down. But that's not happening. Rates go up. Everyone's locked into good equity, locked into good rates, no supply. So prices come down a little. The average appreciation in Hawaii over time depends what snapshot and who's trying to sell you what loan or product, or who's trying to get you to buy a house. Some people exaggerate and say 6% appreciation. I think that that's too aggressive. Run it at 3 or 4, but historically it's 4 to 5% appreciation over time. I think we're going to see a disproportionate amount. I think when we see 5% rates again in that 12-month period, we're going to see like a 10% run. And I like that for me. I like that for you if you're in a home. Here's another thing. Let's say I wasn't prepared to draw, but we're going to go get a little makeshift and ghetto with me here. Let's say this is the housing market right here. Can you see this in the thing? And there's these thousands of people or hundreds of people. Well, right now we have a barrier blocking most of those people from getting through. And that barrier is 7+% interest rates. And that barrier is this big, right? It's that thick. If we go to 6%, thinner, and then 5% rates, we just have way less of a barrier. If we go to 4% rates, everyone's going into the housing market, right? Right now you have this thing blocking them from being in the market. That's the people who are scared out there, and I get it. And you know what? Maybe you stick to the point. Say, Derek, no. Consumer debt is really high. I suffer from it myself, or my mom just went bankrupt. Whatever the case may be. If you feel you shouldn't buy, don't buy. Don't let me convince you otherwise. These are the reasons and the thought process around why I am buying, why I'm encouraging my team to buy if they can, if they're in the good position. And I hope this video is helpful. Leave me a comment, subscribe. We love getting your feedback. See you subscribe. We see the notification bell go off. We see the comments in the comment section. And if you disagree, let me know as well. I'm not here to just be one of those agents who just like, rates are good, you should buy. Rates are bad, you should buy. Sun shining, you should buy. Cloudy, you should buy. That's not us. This is just my thought process, thinking out loud. I hope it's really helpful. Leave me some comments, and aloha, guys.
So common questions people give us all the time. Is it too early for me to look? No, it is not too early. Whatever your timeline might be, if you're considering a move to Hawaii, or a purchase or a sale on Oahu or any of the islands in Hawaii, make sure you click the link below to check out our website, fill out the contact form, let us know your timeline, and let's connect soon.